Srixon and Orca.
Yes, another comparison video, Dan.
Right, what are we up to
buyer's
today?
guide. So we're doing a bit of a buyer's guide to Srixon's sort of top of the range iron. There is the Z forged, but we don't have it, so we can't put it up against it. And Orca's RS10 MB. So this is their most bladed, smallest headed iron.
Interesting how the Orca gets an awful lot of sort of exposure on YouTube, doesn't it? You know, like lots of people want to get and look at it.
Yeah, it's well, there's quite a well-known YouTuber who's sponsored by them, so he's got a good following, so people do search for it. But I've had Orca for 18 months now as a fitter, and I just think it's one of those brands. It's a British brand that's overlooked sometimes, and the big boys won't review it for some reason. So we're gonna.
Well, we're big enough. We
big
can
enough,
do it, can't we?
Well.
Right guys, Dan Hendriksen here. We're at Ashbury Manor Golf Resort here today, and we're down here with Lee and we're doing some testing of irons. We've got a real head-to-head for you again today. We've got the Srixon ZX7 and we're taking on the Orca RS10. These are both beautiful looking irons, straight out the sort of box, shall we say, looking at them. But this is a kind of, like Lee said, a little bit of a buyer's guide to help you get a bit of a better understanding of what these clubs are all about. We're just purely going to look at numbers today. We're going to hit some shots with them. We're going to hit 10 shots each and give you an idea of what they look like, what they feel like to us, and then give you the data on them. Don't forget, if you are new to the channel and you like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button. But for now, let's hit some shots. Orca to get you going with then, Lee?
Yep, so Orca RS10 MB is forged.
Yep.
It's they're Orca's most bladed irons. There is like no cavity back or anything like that.
There's a hint of it in there, isn't there? I was quite surprised when you said it was their MB, because it looks a little bit more like a CB.
Yeah.
There's a hint of sort of bit scalped away in there.
Yeah, compared to the CB of this, the only difference is the head's a little bit bigger on the CB, and then there's the centre here's been cut away to sort of move the centre of gravity a little bit lower with it. Yeah. But it's a small blade, but it's surprisingly got quite a thick top line, I think, for what is a small head, like blade-like head. Yeah. I think it's actually thicker than the CB as well, the top line. But what it is soft. I think it's buttery soft, yeah. Right, okay. It's so soft.
Loft on this?
36.
36, so this is a proper lofty,
yeah, so this
lofty
is a
little 7-iron, isn't it? So we should expect to get high spin, high launch, those sorts of things from this particular iron.
Yeah, it's certainly more traditional. There's not many 36-degree 7-irons.
No, I've not seen many at all out there.
So good. That is
so good.
That is so good. Like out the centre of the face, it's so soft.
So is that as buttery and as soft as what you're getting out of the Orca? We've moved into the Srixon now.
I'd argue it's slightly a little bit softer.
Even softer again. So that's going to be so relevant to your strike at that particular time.
Yeah, I mean, I caught that one like
right
smack bang out the middle, so it just was buttery soft again. I do, like I said when we did the ZX5 one, they're so soft, the Srixon irons, so overlooked, I feel, compared to some of the bigger brands.
Yeah.
But
loft in this one?
32.
Oh, so this is wow, this is even though the comparison is very similar in the looks of these and who they're sort of targeted at, this one is actually very, very strong in comparison. It'd be interesting to see the numbers of these two clubs.
So like blade length, there's not a lot in it. We've put them next to each other, there's not really a lot in it. It's literally, the loft is 4 degrees stronger. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see the difference in the numbers. I'm surprised that there's only 1 degree difference between this and the ZX5.
Right, okay.
I'd have thought this would be a little bit weaker, but I suppose that's what the Z forged is for that like it's the blade, isn't it? And it's more lofted.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I am quite surprised at 32. I thought maybe you'd get away with 33 in it, but 32 is pushing into that sort of particularly low loft.
You think of like last year's Apex Pro, for example. That was a 32 degrees. So
is that right?
This is kind of the same kind of market as that.
Yeah.
I think it's just the way they're going now, and then the blades will be the 34 to 36 degree loft. Talk to me, Dan.
Cool, they're both absolutely stunning. Like if I walked into a shop and looked at those, I'd be like, oh, which one do I go for? You know, which one do I pick up first? Probably, I'd be quite intrigued with the Orca purely because I'm not used to Orca. I'm not used to seeing it on the shelf. I've not seen it in very many pro shops when we sort of wander around. But that Srixon, I gotta say, I have been looking forward to seeing this for the first time, which is today. I've never seen this club before. I've seen lots of pictures online showing me the back of this club, and it looks stunning. It looks probably even better than this one, even though this does look really, really nice at the back. But so yeah, first impression, Srixon for me is the one that I would pick off the shelf first. However, for this test, I've taken the Orca to get us going with. And I've got to say, Lee, from those first few shots that I hit with it, as you said, buttery feel, I mean, it doesn't get much softer than that. That is absolutely stunning. Great feel off the face. I'm using a Pro V1 golf ball, and that to me feels properly soft off the face of the club. Now, first impressions from behind, love the look of it, like I said, on the shelf side of things. The actual top rail though, oh, what a slight disappointment that I've got from that top rail. Lee did say that it was a little bit on the sort of bigger side, sort of squished down nice and flat, not really rolling. And this is something that I'm a bit surprised that this kind of club wouldn't have that as a more of a rolling effect on top. It's quite big when I look down at it, and the actual overall shape of the club, the offset, all of that sort of thing, yeah, love it. Just not a big fan of that top line. I think they could have done something maybe a little bit more with that, getting it rolling to suit the eye for the player that's probably likely to pick this club up and want to put it in the golf bag. But from first impressions of feel off the face, sound, love it, absolutely love it. So I picked up the Srixon, and I thought I'd actually picked up the Orca again, because looking down at these two clubs, they are identical. They look completely obviously different from the back, more of an MB, more of a sort of CB or sort of cavity back. But when you look down at the clubs, the shape of the head, even the sort of, I don't know what the measurements are with these two clubs, but the shape of the actual head when you look down is almost the same, and they've got the same top line. It's like the same person has made these clubs from the visuals looking down. Well, yeah, but maybe the same bloke went in and built them. But this is quite impressive how these two are very much the same from looking down at the ball, but completely different in the kind of profile at the back of the club. Numbers time then, Lee.
Yes.
Tell me what we've got with the numbers in the comparisons between these two. Obviously we've hit 10 shots each with these particular clubs, and Lee's going to give us an average of what we're getting from both of them. So let's start with you on
they're interesting considering the loft differences as well. So
I'm expecting to see a bit of a difference here. Like I'm expecting the Srixon to be super low spin, low sort of bombers really from this one, and then I'm expecting a complete opposite when it comes to the Orca. I'm expecting a high launch, high spin number.
Well, what happens with me and what's happened with you is totally different.
Oh, is it? Right, okay.
So me first, ball speed 126.4 for the Orca, 126.5.
Okay, so
that is ZX7, so
nothing in it.
Nothing in it.
Okay.
Launch angle 15.5 for the Orca, 14 for the Srixon, so 1.5 degree difference.
Right.
Spin 4.6 and 4.2, so 450 revs more with the RS10. Average carry, there's 1 yard in it, 187 against 188. So they are like
amazing, isn't it?
so close together with the ball data.
Yeah.
It's unreal. But we look at my club data, efficiency is the same. Head speed, we're talking 0.6 mile an hour.
Yeah.
But, so if we go to dynamic loft,
Yeah.
there's actually 3 degrees in it. But you look at the board, the sort of launch angle, there's only 1.5 in it. That's there.
But that makes sense then.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So we're getting 3 degrees difference in his loft when he gets into impact. So he's got 32 degrees of loft from the get-go on the Srixon compared to 36. So there's 3 degrees different, 4 degrees difference between them. Yeah. But he's getting 3 degrees difference when he comes into impact on them. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that equates to the extra, obviously the extra spin.
Extra bit of spin, launching it just a fraction higher, you know, delivering more loft into the golf ball.
What's interesting is the ball speeds are the same as well, considering the extra loft the RS10.
So, and what's the efficiency again? What's the
efficiency is 133 with the RS10 and 134 with the ZX7. So arguably, I'm getting more per buck from the ZX7.
Yeah, but you're getting some very good, considering the loft that you've got on this Orca club. Lee's getting some really good ball speed off of it. I wouldn't have expected the ball speed to be similar from these two purely because of the lofts that he's delivering into it and the fact that they're both, you're pretty much striking them efficiency wise pretty similar.
Yeah.
So good numbers.
Yeah, really good numbers. Go to you, Dan.
Yes, what am I getting from these two clubs?
Ball speed 116.4 for the Orca.
Yes.
116.8. The ZX7.
Okay.
It says 5, but yours is a ZX7.
Yeah, okay.
So again, like there's nothing in it, nothing at all.
Yeah.
Launch angle, there's 0.6 in it, so slightly.
7.9 for me. For 7.9 for me, I'm always trying to get around 19 degrees of launch. It's kind of where I always look at it. If I can kind of keep it around that, then that's pretty positive.
So there's not a lot in it, but the big jump for you is the spin, like nearly 7,000 with the RS10 and 6,000 with the ZX7.
Yeah. So and to be fair, with the numbers that we've got on the bottom of the club, as in the loft wise on them, if you said to me at the beginning, you know, what kind of spin are you going to get from this one, I would say it would be in the low 6s, maybe at the end of 5,000 revs, which it kind of is. If we look at the Orca, I would expect this to spin maybe just a fraction more than what I would get from my irons, let's say, because of that extra loft that it's got on it. So it's actually doing everything that I expect it to kind of do.
Yeah. Average
what else have
carry,
we got?
160 for the RS10, 164 with
Again,
the...
combination of more ball speed by, 0.4, a lower launch, and lower spin equates to 4 extra yards in the air. So
There's
you know,
one
again,
thing I noticed though when I was obviously we were getting the numbers is if we look at the dispersion there of the RS10, they were all on top of each other. Like your dispersion is tiny with the RS10. You had it so under control, it's unbelievable.
Well, again, I think that comes down to the fact that we've got a little bit more loft on the club, so therefore you're going to get your dispersion should control it just that fraction more. And that's something you've just got to be mindful of when you're going to lower lofted irons, that actually, you know, your dispersion will possibly just move a little bit as you come through into those sort of lower lofted irons.
You were annoyingly accurate with the Orca.
Was it on it? Was it?
Yeah, it was
the Orca. Yeah.
Like it was.
And to be fair, you know, with the amount of loft that's on this club, to carry it 160, I'm around a 160 to 165 anyway with my 7 iron, but I would have put this with that loft possibly just a fraction lower in that overall distance, to be honest.
I've just brought up the table for the RS10. So look, 161, 161, 159, 160, 163, 160, 160, 159, 159. They were so accurate. Like 160 is your average because you hit everything at 160.
Yeah, it's ranged between 159 and 163 in 10 shots. So
like the front to back dispersion is ridiculous.
Got to say though, it's pretty impressive.
4 yards.
Yeah.
Like they were just so on
like
it.
little birdie machines, aren't they?
Yeah.
Little birdie machines. So which one is it? Which one would you choose?
So as much as I loved the ZX5 and it would go in the bag, I'm not a fan of the ZX7. I kind of struggle with it a little bit with the testing I've done previously. I would contemplate a blend set if I was doing it, but for me, out of these two, the Orca wins.
And for what reason does the Orca win?
I like the fact that it's got more loft. Now, although the numbers suggest they were pretty similar, I could work on this a little bit more to get more spin and more loft, whereas with this, I think I'd struggle to be able to get the loft up and the spin up, whereas with this I think it'd be a lot easier, which would then tighten my dispersion with it. So I think out of these two, the Orca wins it, and arguably I think it looks better than the Srixon. So what about you, Danny boy? Which one?
For me, looks wise, from the back here, again, I said it earlier on, but I think the Srixon beats it over the Orca, even though I do like the Orca. I don't think it's too bad. Feel-wise, you know, I do love the feel of the Orca. I think it's super, super buttery soft, as Lee has quite rightly said. And I think that because of this test, it kind of overshadows the Srixon slightly. I think if the Srixon was up against some other manufacturers out there, I think you'd find that the Srixon would easily be as soft and as nice off the from the strike point of view, from the feel. But which one would I put in the bag? Oh, do you know what I would like? I would like the Srixon with more loft. That's kind of what I would like. But because we don't have that in this situation, I'm going to go with the Orca. I think that the Orca, from a dispersion point of view, was superb. I think it performed extremely well considering how much loft it had on it. I was getting some really good yardage out of it. I think visuals, yeah, really, really like it. I think top line would put me off both of these irons. I think it's too thick on the top line for the type of market that they're kind of going into. And it wouldn't take much. It would just need a little bit of rounding off the top of both of them, and I think that they would absolutely tick the box for lots and lots of sort of low handicap golfers out there. But yeah, I think for me it's got to be the Orca, purely based on the fact that it's performing really well. It got my spin up a little bit. This one was just too low lofted. I just don't see why we need it kind of that low lofted for the type of player that it's kind of going for. So Orca wins it from that point of view. But we'd like to know what you think on the head-to-head that we've done. Are you somebody that is a bit of a fan of Orca? Are you a Srixon fan? Which one would you have picked over this? This one is an interesting one with the low loft. What do you think about that? And this one is interesting, the fact that it's a high loft. Like, I've not seen 36 degrees that often on 7 irons out on the market. So Orca are certainly doing something slightly different there. So there's a little insight into both of these products. If you are new to the channel and you like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button. Got lots more content to come your way, hopefully this year. And we'll look forward to catching up with you again soon.